Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll learn how to make a lesson plan for teaching a poem. The poem which I have chosen for today's lesson plan is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, written by the great poet Robert Frost. So, we'll begin with writing date, class, subject, topic, period and duration, as we had written in the previous lesson plans. Then we'll write general aims. General aims for teaching a poem are 1. To enable the students to recite poetry with proper pronunciation, stress, intonation and style. Number 2. To enable the students to appreciate beauty, rhythm and style of poetry. 3. To enable the students to enjoy poetry and develop a taste for it. 4. To develop the aesthetic sense of the students. 5. To train and enable the students to express their ideas and emotions. 6. To enable the students to develop love for English literature. Now, after writing general aims, we'll write specific objectives for all the three domains. That is, cognitive domain, affective domain and psychomotor domain. In cognitive domain, we'll write 2 objectives for knowledge level, 2 for comprehension level and 2 objectives for the application level, like this. Then in affective domain, we'll write 1 objective for interest and 1 for the appreciation. And then in psychomotor domain, we'll write objectives related to skill, like this. Then next heading will be teaching learning material or material aid. Here you can mention whichever teaching aid you are using, such as chart, model, flashcards or any concrete objects, etc. So for this lesson, we can use a chart showing a snowy evening. The next heading will be previous knowledge. And here we can write that the students are aware of the different seasons, or we can also write that students know about the different seasons, etc. The next heading will be introduction. Here we'll make 2 columns. One for the pupil teacher's activity and the other for the student's activity. If we wish to use any teaching aid for the introduction, then we can make 1 more column over here for that. And here we can ask 3 to 5 questions from the previous knowledge of the students. And we write the expected answers of these questions in the students' activity column. So for this topic, a few examples of the questions that can be framed are: what are the names of the different seasons? And the expected answer is the names of the different seasons are summer, winter, monsoon and autumn. Some may call it rainy season also. Then the second question can be, what happens on the mountains in winters? The expected answer is, it snows on the mountains in winters. The third question can be, what happens to the trees when it snows? And the expected answer will be, the trees get covered with the snow when it snows. The fourth question can be, what is that large area called which is covered with trees? And the expected answer is, the large area covered with the trees is called forest. Then the last question should be related to the topic which we are going to teach, and it should also be a problematic one. Problematic means it should be difficult for the students to answer it, so that they get curious to know the answer of that question and start taking interest in the poem which the teacher is going to teach them. So here we can ask, what is the synonym of forest? Probably students wouldn't know its answer. So we'll write here no response and then we'll declare the topic. So the next heading will be statement of aim. And here we'll say, today we'll read a beautiful poem Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, which is written by Robert Frost. Then comes the presentation part. Here we'll need two punch sheets together as usual. On the left punch sheet, we'll make 3 columns. And on the right punch sheet, we'll make 2 columns. The first heading on the left punch sheet will be serial number. The second heading will be teaching point. And the third heading will be pupil teacher's activity. The first heading on the right punch sheet will be students' activity and the second heading will be teaching aid / blackboard work. Some people make one more column for writing the method used before the column of teaching aid / blackboard work. But it's not compulsory to make it. Now the first teaching point will be model recitation without book. Here the pupil teacher will recite the poem from memory, which means without reading it from anywhere. So for this we'll write in the pupil teacher's activity column that the pupil teacher will recite the poem with full stress, rhythm, intonation, expression, modulation of voice and help students to understand the beauty of the language of poem. And here we'll write the first few words of the poem and the last few words of the poem. In the students' activity, we'll write, the students will listen carefully with full interest and appreciate the poem. Then the second teaching point will be second model recitation from book. So here the pupil teacher will recite the poem with the book. So here the pupil teacher will hold the book in her right hand and recite the poem. So here in the pupil teacher's activity we'll write, the pupil teacher will recite the poem in the same manner from the book. And in the students' activity column we'll write, the students will listen carefully. Then the third teaching point will be central idea of the poem. Here the pupil teacher will show the chart or the model related to the theme of the poem and tell the central idea or gist of the poem to the students. So here in the pupil teacher's activity column we'll write, the pupil teacher will tell the central idea or the gist of the poem to the students. And then here we'll write the central idea of the poem which the teacher will tell to the students in the class. So it will be like this, and in the students' activity column we'll write, the students will listen carefully. So here in this part, in this teaching point, you have to show the chart or model to the students while you are telling the central idea of the poem. So here in your lesson plan, in the column of teaching aid / blackboard work, you can paste a miniature of the picture showing a snowy evening. So here's the picture of the full central idea. You can take a screenshot of it. So it was the central idea of the poem. Now the fourth teaching point is word exposition. Here the pupil teacher will give the meaning of the difficult words to the students. There is a difference over here in prose and poetry lesson plans. In the prose lesson plan, the pupil teacher elicits the meaning of the difficult words from the students by giving them some clues or by using different devices, etc. But while teaching a poem, the teacher doesn't ask the meanings from the students. Rather, she tells the meaning herself because she doesn't want to disturb the poetic atmosphere of the class. So here in the pupil teacher's activity, we'll write the pupil teacher will tell the meaning of the difficult words. Here, pupil teacher will also write the word meanings on the blackboard or whiteboard, whatever she has in the classroom. So, in our lesson plan, we'll write words and their meanings in two places. That is the pupil teacher's activity column as well as in the teaching aid/blackboard work column. So it will look like this on both the punch sheets. Here also in the pupil teacher's activity column and here also in the teaching aid/blackboard work column. Now the fifth teaching point is imitative recitation. Here in the pupil teacher's activity, we'll write the pupil teacher will ask the students to recite the poem in the same manner as she has in order to develop recitation skill in them. And in the students activity column, we'll write the students will recite the poem. Now, sixth teaching point will be questions on appreciation. So here in the pupil teacher's activity column, we'll write the pupil teacher will ask the students some questions to test how far students have comprehended the poem and can appreciate it. And here the pupil teacher will ask some questions from the students. So for this poem, the first question can be, who will not see the poet stopping by the woods? And the expected answer will be, the owner of the woods will not see the poet stopping by the woods. Now the pupil teacher will explain the answer to the students and she'll say, yes, the owner of the woods will not see the poet stopping by the woods as his house is in the village. Then she'll ask second question, why did the horse consider the halt as a mistake? And the students will give the answer. The horse considered the halt as a mistake because there was no farmhouse seen nearby. And here again she'll give the explanation for the answer. And the students will listen carefully. And in the same manner, she'll ask the third question, like what did the horse do to inquire whether stopping was a mistake? And the students will give answer. The horse shook his harness bells to inquire if stopping was a mistake. And then again the teacher will give the explanation. And then she'll ask fourth question, what were the two sounds heard by the poet? And the answer will be, the two sounds heard by the poet were the sound of the bells and that of the wind. And then again she'll give the explanation and students will listen carefully. And then she'll ask fifth question, how do the woods look like? And the answer will be, woods are lovely, dark and deep. And then again she'll give the explanation that the woods are beautiful, they are lovely, dark and deep, they are tempting. The word dark symbolizes mysterious. The woods are not only beautiful and attractive but also mysterious. And the students will listen carefully. And then she'll ask the sixth question, why can't the poet stay to watch the woods? And the answer will be, the poet can't stay to watch woods as he has many promises to keep. And then again the teacher will give the explanation and students will listen carefully. In this way, the pupil teacher can ask 5 to 7 questions. And then she'll do the final recitation, which is the 7th teaching point of the lesson plan. So here in the pupil teacher's activity, we'll write the pupil teacher will do the final recitation to continue the poetic atmosphere in the class. And the students will listen carefully. Now the presentation part is over. So after this, the pupil teacher will ask the students to copy down the blackboard work. And what was written on the board? Words and their meanings, which the pupil teacher writes on the board while teaching. So here the next heading will be blackboard summary. So the blackboard summary should be the same as your board would look like while you're teaching in the class. And then the next heading will be instruction and supervision. Here you will write, the pupil teacher will instruct the students to copy down the words and the meanings from the blackboard. She'll supervise the class while the students are writing. Now the next heading will be recapitulation. Here we can ask objective type questions from the students. But to save the time, we should write these questions on the roller board in advance before coming to the class. Objective type questions means questions like fill in the blanks or match the following or true or false, yes, no or multiple choice questions, etc. Write at least 5 questions over here. You can use a wet chalk to write on the roller board. And after this, you will give homework or home assignment to the students. It is compulsory to give homework to the students. So here you can write the central idea of the poem in your notebook. I hope this video was helpful for you. Here is the complete lesson plan. You can take the screenshots of the images I am showing you right now. First page, second page, and then third page on which introduction is written, and then presentation. And then blackboard summary, and then instruction and supervision, recapitulation and homework. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share the video with your friends and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to it yet. We'll meet you in the next video. Till then, goodbye and thanks for watching.